Good afternoon, guys. So a lot of you out there tend to play Dirt Rally 2.0 with a Logitech G920 steering wheel, which is the same steering wheel that we have for PlayStation, but the PlayStation is the G29. Everybody has their own preference on settings when they play with the G920 or any sort of wheel. It took me a while to get the settings that I have that I'm comfortable with. Now, settings are normally preference to the individual that uses the wheel, and I just thought I'd make this video for some of you to see the settings that I use, and hopefully this can help you as well. So what we'll do first is we'll look at the Logitech app itself. Logitech app we use is the actual G920 app, and what happens is when you open the app and your steering wheel is connected, you get a screen like this, and you're able to highlight your G920 steering wheel. When you click on your G920 steering wheel, it will take you to the next screen, which is your profile configuration. As you can see, I've currently set my profile configuration, my operating range to 360, my sensitivity to 50, and you can actually say the centering spring is off since I don't use it. The reason for 360 I feel is a lot more responsive when driving, but this comes with a catch, and I won't touch this right now until we go to the next screen. But these are the settings I use. If you find that 360 is too twitchy or it's too responsive, I would suggest you start off with something like 400 or 450. This in turn is not so responsive but more controllable. Once you get used to driving under 450 or 460, then you can bring it down gradually to your liking. Now, as I said previously, it is a personal preference how you like driving. I know there are some people that use much lower than 360, but personally I feel that 360 is the perfect range for me. Now, as we go into the game itself, we need to calibrate the wheel first of all. Now, if you give me a second just to get into the game. Okay, so options, input, you highlight your steering wheel, and on your Logitech G920, as you know, you've got A, B, Y and X. So Y is your device options. You can go to calibrate device. Now the first screen tells you to calibrate steering full lock. Take it all the way to 100 and you press A on your steering wheel. Then it says calibrate steering to 90 degrees. So you take your wheel back to center where you know is center. Now, as you'll note, when I take it 90 degrees, it's showing me that I am on 860. Now, this is not correct. So what I found I've had to do every time I open the game, I have to go back to my Logitech app. I highlight my operating range, adjust it by 1 and take it back to 360. Once you've done that, you can go back into your game. Once you're in the game, exit your calibrating screen and go back into calibration. Calibrate your device. As you turn your steering wheel, you'll find there's a point whereby it's saying 100 and your wheel is sort of like up on the spring. Pull it all the way past the spring till you feel you can't take it no more, till it locks. Hold it in that position and press A, and then let it go back to center. When you take it 90 degrees now, you will notice that it is now reading 360 instead of 860. That means you have calibrated it to 360. Leave it in 360 position and click A. Then you want to depress all your pedals, your throttle. Now I do not depress my brake all the way. I normally take it to 35% and then I release it. I'll explain that in a second. You then depress your clutch full, and there you go. So the reason behind pressing my brake to 35%, I do apologize, I'll explain that in a bit. Once you've depressed all your pedals, you then click A. You'll come to this screen where it shows a green arrow where you can test the responsiveness of your wheel, your throttle, your brake and your clutch. You then click A. That means your wheel is fully calibrated. Now highlight your Logitech steering wheel, then you want to edit device, so that will be A. Now input bindings, you can change whatever keys you want. I'm sure everybody knows this. You can change your keys to whatever you want. You want to go to your advanced settings. As you'll see on my brake saturation, it's at 36. I normally like it at 35, but for the sake of this video I'm going to show you what happens when you put it all the way to 150. Apply those settings, go to input reporting. As you all aware, the Logitech G920 has a very stiff brake. You've really got to press it hard in order to get 100% brake from it. Now as I'm pressing, I'm now almost full, and that's as far as my foot can go without me actually moving my chair backwards or hurting my foot. While driving, that's not preferable. You want your brake to feel your brake, so you don't want to have to press it all the way down in order to get anything. So I'll set it back on 35 where I normally have it. And as you can see now, it's much more responsive. Without pressing it all the way down, I'm getting 100%. So this in turn helps me when I'm driving to gradually brake or to brake hard. So make sure you do a calibration every time that you enter the game, because for some reason the game does not save the settings that you have. So make sure you follow the procedure from step 1 right up till step 2 again. So that would be starting off with your Logitech G Hub. You want to select your wheel operating rate rotation. You want to put it up 1 and bring it down to 360. Then go into the calibration device on your game. You then want to recalibrate your whole device again. Once calibrated, you can then go ahead and do your stage or your championship or whichever you feel like doing. For the fun of it, I will take you through a run on inner field sprint. I'm not the fastest driver. I love using my Skoda, and I will take you through a run on inner field sprint. Now I'm sure there's many people doing this sort of video online, but there aren't many people that can be able to use the settings that others have used. Now before we start inner field sprint, I will take you through my actual settings of how I've set up everything for my G920. Now as mentioned before, this makes me comfortable, but it won't make everybody comfortable. If my settings do help you, please do comment in the comments below and subscribe to the channel and give me a like. So in my advanced settings, my linearity is 0, my dead zone is 0, my saturation is set at 100, throttle obviously at 100 as well, and as mentioned previously, my brake is at 35. Clutch saturation, actually that should be on 100. I made a mistake there, but as you can see, all those are normal. Soft lock, make sure your soft lock is on. That will basically assist you as well with the force feedback. Your vibration and feedback, I've got my aligning torque to 65, my wheel friction and tire friction to 0. My suspension is on 65 because you don't want over jumps that your steering wheel tends to throw your hands out. I've noticed when it's at full force you can get quite a shock through the steering wheel. Same thing with collision, you don't want it at 150 because it can throw you off. And the rest are just generally left as the game leaves it itself. So without a tune, I generally do like soft tires on Germany. I do have a tuning that I love on my vehicle, but for the sake of this video I will run the stage without any sort of tuning. I will switch off all ghosts. As you can see, my personal best is a 253. I'm not the fastest out there, but I am trying. One more thing which I have not put up, and you haven't noticed it yet, but I use the dirt telemetry tool, which will pop up in a second on my video. So basically what the dirt telemetry tool is, you have your G-force, you have your rev counter, and you have your speed. You also have your gear. You have 3 grayed out bars over here. What those bars generally are, one of them is your throttle. It will show you your throttle response. The middle one is your brake, and the last one is your clutch. Then you've got your steering wheel, and right at the end on your right hand side you have this little graph over here. Basically what that little graph is, it shows you your suspension. So each gray part of your graph is each tire. Then you've got a, let's say it's not a diagonal, is it? Yes. You've got one small bar running across the 4 wheels. That bar shows where your weight is. So basically if you accelerate, that weight is going to move back. If you decelerate or hit the brakes, that weight is going to move forward. Once I start the stage, you'll see everything come into play and you'll understand it more. What this actually helps me with when I'm doing a championship, if I go into a championship and I do a shakedown, this basically tells me if my suspension is too high, too low, or too soft. But anyway, we will do a dirt telemetry tool video some other time. For now, let's just jump into the stage.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 60 over crest, turn unseen square left, don't cut. 280. Turn tight hairpin right, uphill. 100. Long flat crest, 120. Turn 1 left over crest. Opens long, tightens turn 1 left over crest. 300. Flat 6 right long. Into 5 left. 120. 5 right long, tightens 4. Slow 30, turn square left, don't cut. 30, turn square left, don't cut. 150, flat left, 80. Keep right of a crest, slow 30, turn narrow 3 left. 30, turn tight hairpin right. Into turn, don't cut, square left. 50, turn tight hairpin right, don't cut. 80, turn square right. Into turn 1 left, don't cut. Opens long, narrow. Into 6 right. 300. Slow 6 right of a crest, don't cut, into turn, square left. 30, turn 1 left, opens 80, crest, 30, turn unseen hairpin right. 80, turn hairpin left. 40, flat crest. 150, flat middle of a jump. 50, 5 left, into 5 right. Into 6 left of a crest. 80, keep middle of a crest. 60, narrow 4 right tightens. Into turn 3 left. 80, keep right into turn 2 left tightens. 30, turn hairpin left. 150, keep middle of a crest. 60, turn narrow 3 right tightens, into turn tight hairpin right. 80, flat left of a crest, 200, of a finish, to stop. Well done.
And there we have it. As you can see, it's not as good as my personal best, but you can see the vehicle that I did my personal best in was a Ford Fiesta R5 Mark II, which I believe is an unfair advantage to anybody that uses it in esports, because that vehicle is insanely powered. But thank you for watching, and I hope this stream really helps anybody that has a Logitech G920 steering wheel. And should you have any questions, or should you have any advice to give me, as we're all learning every day, there's always something new to learn. If you have any advice to give me, please do drop a comment below, and subscribe to my channel for any more videos like this.